It's official, Roki Sasaki will be getting posted this offseason, and he will be coming to the major leagues. Now, who is Roki Sasaki, you might ask? Well, he's regarded as one of the best pitchers in the world at only 23 years old. He's got a fastball that sits in the upper 90s, and he maintains the velo deep into games. He has a nasty splitter that's almost unhittable, sits in the low 90s because of how much it drops out of the zone, a slider with a disgusting late break, and a solid curveball. On top of this, he has great command and can throw all of his pitches for strikes. He threw the 16th ever perfect game in MPB history back in 2022, and he also struck out 19 batters in that game, which is just stupid. Overall, across 4 seasons in Japan, he's posted a 2.02 ERA with over 11 strikeouts per 9. With Sasaki, though, because he's getting posted before he's 25 years old and he hasn't played at least 6 seasons of pro ball, he will be subjected to the international bonus pool, which means you won't see him getting a massive contract like Yoshinobu Yamamoto did last year, which basically means all 30 teams have a shot at signing him. Now, another caveat to this is when he gets posted. Now, if he gets posted before December 15th, which is when the bonus pool money resets for every team, teams will have to use their 2024 bonus pool money, which a lot of it has already been used for most teams for this year. So I would imagine he gets posted after December 15th when the bonus pool money is reset, giving him free range to talk with all 30 teams. Now, if all 30 teams are going to be in the bidding, this is interesting because it gives even the small market teams a chance, which ESPN's Kylie McDaniel touched on recently, saying he may actually prefer a smaller market team compared to a big market like LA, New York, Boston, or Chicago. I think this could actually make some sense because you got to think here, he's only 23 years old and he's not going to be making Yamamoto money anyway. I wonder if perhaps he wants to go somewhere where he simply feels comfortable and he can focus on his own development rather than just jump into a media frenzy somewhere. However, in the end, if he feels a big market team like the Dodgers or the Yankees gives him the best chance to get better at his craft, then of course those teams will have a chance. So with that said, in this video, I'm going to go over 10 teams that I think have the best shot at landing Sasaki. Let's get to it. Instead of starting off with the least favorite team here, I'm going to do the opposite and get the heavy favorite out of the way first, the Dodgers. Now, pretty much if you ask anyone out there where they think Sasaki's going to sign, the first answer is going to be the Dodgers. They have Ohtani, they have Yamamoto, they just won a World Series, they got stars all over the place, they've shown great player development, always having one of the best farm systems in Major League Baseball. Of course, they're a massive favorite, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Now, like I said earlier, he's going to be getting paid through the international bonus pool, so the Dodgers can't wave big money at him to sway him to go there. Now, I also mentioned it's possible he prefers a smaller market team. Now, you know, if he goes to the Dodgers, it's going to be a complete frenzy. The marketing will be out of the wazoo for this guy, along with Ohtani and Yamamoto. Now, I don't know the guy, obviously, but perhaps he feels that could be a distraction for him, and he may want to go somewhere where he wouldn't have to deal with that. In a way, kind of like Ohtani did with the Angels. When he first came over to the States, he didn't sign with a big market team like the Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, or Red Sox. Instead, he went to the Angels where he cited a strong connection that drew him there. Perhaps Sasaki will be looking for something similar as he gets acclimated to life here in the States and he can work on his craft. In the end, though, the reasons I mentioned earlier for why he could go to the Dodgers are definitely real, and it wouldn't be surprising in the slightest for him to go there. Let's get into one of the smaller market teams with the Royals. Well, recently, it doesn't feel like the Royals have been a small market team as they've been pretty active in free agency going back to last offseason. However, I think the Royals could be a sneaky team to watch here. Now, they haven't really had much in terms of signing players from Japan, but maybe this could be a start. Now, the one thing I focus on with the Royals is how good their pitching has been in the last couple of years. They brought in Cole Reagans in the Aroldis Chapman trade, who was up and down in the Rangers system, but they completely unlocked him in Kansas City as he put up a fantastic season this year. There's also Seth Lugo, a guy who was a career reliever, and after a year as a starter with the Padres, he came over to the Royals and was one of the best pitchers in baseball this season. They also got a good season out of Brady Singer, big improvements out of Alec Marsh, and also got good seasons from a couple of homegrown guys in the bullpen in Chris Bubic and Daniel Lynch. Overall, going back to 2023, the Royals rank 8th in starting pitching F4, and a big reason for this is the Royals rehauling their entire pitching department a couple of years ago. Again, I think the Royals could be a sneaky team here, and hey, King Sasaki has a nice ring to it. I wonder if the Blue Jays could be a bit of a dark horse here. Now, when it comes to the Blue Jays over the last few years, they failed to get over the hump, but that's not because of the pitching from guys like Kevin Gausman and Jose Barrios. Over the last few years, the Blue Jays ranked 9th overall in starting pitching FWAR and 11th in Stuff Plus from their entire staff. They've also gotten a decent amount out of young guys like Bowden Francis this year and Alek Manoah before he fell off a cliff in 2023. Now, another thing to consider with Toronto is their Japanese population has been increasing over recent years, so perhaps that could be of interest to Sasaki. How about Roki Sasaki to the Chicago Cubs? They signed Shota Imanaga last offseason, and he had a great first year in Major League Baseball. They signed Seiya Suzuki a couple of years ago, and he's been pretty solid for the most part, and they've done a great job with the pitching development. They ranked 12th overall in starting pitching FWAR over the last 2 years. They invested heavily into the analytical side of things when it comes to the pitching development over the last few years, but after Craig Breslow left, they did take a bit of a step back this year. However, adding Sasaki would give them a formidable 1 through 3 in Imanaga, Sasaki, and Justin Steele. Up next, I have the Yankees, and of course we have to mention the Yankees for Roki Sasaki. Even though they came up short on Yamamoto last offseason, they did go after him pretty hard, and they also added some international bonus pool money in the Caleb Ferguson trade with the Astros this year. Now, when it comes to their pitching, they've focused big on stuff ever since hiring Matt Blake before the 2020 season. They ranked first in Stuff Plus ever since they hired him. Now, they've gotten a lot out of their young guys like Clark Schmidt and Luis Heel, who both had great years this year, and they've also done great with getting guys on track, most notably Luke Weaver this year. And of course, we have to remember the guys they've signed from Japan in the past, including Hideki Matsui and Masahiro Tanaka. Now, the only thing, again, that I wonder about is the big market. Will that come into play? If not, if Sasaki came to the Yankees and you had a rotation of Garrett Cole, Sasaki, Carlos Rodon, oof, that is disgusting. And of course, when we talk about the Yankees, we got to talk about the Red Sox. Last offseason, the Red Sox hired Craig Breslow to be the president of baseball operations, and he has an eye for pitching. He completely revamped the pitching department in the organization to be more data-driven. Now, they also brought in Andrew Bailey as the new pitching coach, and he helped bring immediate results to Boston. Not too long ago, they also brought in Justin Willard to be the director of pitching, and he had a lot of success with the small market Twins as both the pitching coach and pitching coordinator, and he also values raw stuff. They also brought in Kyle Boddy from Driveline Baseball, who's very big into the analytical side of player development. Now, perhaps this could help entice Sasaki to come to Boston. The Red Sox also have a history of success with players from Japan, including Daisuke Matsuzaka, Koji Uehara, and Hideki Okujima, and they did scout Sasaki this past season. But the one thing, again, that I wonder about is the market. Will Boston be a market that he wants to go to? I don't know. But if they can bring in Sasaki to be a part of this staff, man, oh man, that would be a huge upgrade for the Red Sox, who are looking to upgrade the top of the rotation. Up next, I have the Mets, and the Mets are on the rise, making it to the National League Championship Series this year after a great year. They've revamped the farm over the last couple of years. They're looking very good for the future. They've gotten their pitching development on track in the last couple of years. Christian Scott has developed very well throughout the minor leagues, also made it to the major leagues this year. Brandon Sproat came out of nowhere this year, made huge gains this year in the minor leagues. They also got David Peterson and Jose Buto at the major league level. Both were very solid contributors for the Mets this year. And don't forget about Sean Manaea. They brought him in after a couple of down years. They helped him alter his mechanics and his pitch mix, and they got a great year out of him. Now, when it comes to the money, that's not going to be a factor here, so Steve Cohen is going to have his hands tied there, but they could definitely pitch their recent success of pitching development. And speaking of pitching, they also have a guy by the name of Kadai Senga there, so that can only help. Now, when it comes to New York, will the media attention be something Sasaki wants? I'm not sure about that. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But I definitely think the Mets will have a seat at the table. If they could add Sasaki here alongside Kadai Senga, oh man, that would be very good. Up next, I'm going to go a bit crazy here, but why not the Rays? I think the Rays could be a dark horse here. Now, I know, they don't have a roof right now, but when it comes to the pitching development in recent years, there's no denying they've done a great job. Despite taking a step back this year, they still rank 5th overall in starting pitching FWAR going back to 2022 and 4th overall in Stuff Plus. They've had a ton of success stories despite having a small budget, including Tyler Glasnow, Shane McClanahan, Taj Bradley, Ryan Ryan Pepio, Shane Baz, and plenty others. And let's be real, if focusing on developing as a pitcher and possibly not having to deal with a media frenzy in a big market is Sasaki's #1 desire, then I mean, come on, what better place than the Rays? And another thing to add as well is that it seems the Rays have been more aggressive for top players in recent years, like Freddie Freeman, and supposedly they even made a phone call to Juan Soto recently. Now, I know money isn't really a factor here, but that does show their desire to add top talent. And for the 2025 international bonus pool, they're going to have one of the biggest pools to play with. I think with guys coming back healthy this year, including McClanahan, along with one of the top prospects in all of Major League Baseball, Junior Caminero, probably being a full-time player this year, I see the Rays wanting to get back to competing, and I would not count them out here. I think the Tigers could be a bit of a dark horse for Roki Sasaki. They've done a great job with their pitching development in recent years, with a big reason being investing more into the analytical and strategy side of things. Now, with pitching coach Chris Fetter, he's done a great job at the major league level. They ranked 7th overall in starting pitching F-WAR over the last couple of years. They've gotten a lot of success out of guys like Tarek Skubal, who's probably going to win the Cy Young this year, along with other guys like Jack Flaherty, who they helped get back on track before they traded him to the Dodgers at the trade deadline. Reese Olson, who took a good step forward this year and also handled the chaos pitching staff this year, getting a lot out of guys like Jason Foley, Will Vest, Bo Brisky, and Tyler Holton. And don't forget, they've done a great job at developing the #1 pitching prospect in all of Major League Baseball, Jackson Jobe. A smaller market team like the Tigers, I think, could be a great spot for Sasaki if he doesn't want to go to a big market. Up next, I got the Atlanta Braves. Now, when it comes to the Braves, they've always had a reputation of being a hotbed for good pitching, going back to the 90s with Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine. Now, for this year, sure, the team offensively dealt with a lot of injuries and they underperformed, but their pitching was fantastic this year. They ranked 1st overall in starting pitching F-WAR and 2nd overall going back to 2022. They brought in Chris Sale this year and they helped him get back on track with an amazing season, which will probably win him the Cy Young. They also brought in Reynaldo Lopez, who was bouncing around between the rotation and the bullpen in his career, but they ended up getting a career year out of him. They've also had a lot of success developing young pitchers in their system, including Max Fried, Spencer Strider, Spencer Schwellenbach this year, and they have promising young arms like AJ Smith-Shawver and Hurston Waldrop. They're obviously doing something right here, and perhaps Sasaki sees this too. Now with Max Fried most likely going to another team this offseason, you know Alex Anthopoulos would love to add someone like Sasaki to this rotation. And of course, when we're talking about good pitching, we got to talk about the Mariners. The Mariners have done a great job at developing pitching. Their rotation is almost completely homegrown. They've had a lot of success stories, including George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller, and Brian Wu right behind them. Seattle is also on the West Coast, so if geographic location is important to Saki, while also having less media to deal with than you would in, say, LA, I think the Mariners could be a great fit. The Mariners also have one of the largest bonus pools for 2025, and of course, they used to have a guy from Japan by the name of Ichiro. I don't know if you know him or not. He was pretty good. Out of all these teams, though, I think the Padres could be the biggest threat to land Roki Sasaki. Now, AJ Preller has been eyeing Sasaki for a while now, and even name-dropped him last year at a Padres event. Now, with the Dodgers signing Yamamoto last year, I wonder if Preller sees this as his chance to strike back at the Dodgers. Now, when it comes to the Padres, they really could use another guy in the rotation, with Joe Musgrove having to get Tommy John. He's going to be out for all of 2025, and with the Padres also seeming to be a bit tighter on the payroll the last couple of years, but still very well in a competitive window, I could see them being very aggressive with these circumstances. Now, when it comes to their pitching, they've had a lot of success in the last few years, including ranking 4th in starting pitching F-WAR the last few years, and 4th in Stuff Plus going back to 2022. They're on the West Coast, which is usually the first spot Japanese players get connected to, and if Sasaki does desire a smaller market compared to somewhere like LA or New York, I think it's fair to say the Padres fit that mold. They also have Yu Darvish, who reportedly wasn't happy with the Padres' lack of aggressiveness at pursuing Ohtani or Yamamoto, and he's close with Sasaki. In the end, I think when you factor in Preller's desire to land Sasaki, along with all these other things I mentioned, I think the Padres could absolutely land Sasaki this offseason. But everyone, those are my thoughts. Tell me your thoughts down below in the comments. Which team do you think will land Roki Sasaki? But everyone, that's all I got for this video. If you can on the way out, leave me a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.